So are you ready? Okay. Will you please take it to a level 10? I know it's late in the day, right? Late in the day, but now you can actually pump yourself up by giving a level 10 welcome to Mr. Stephen Pierce. Level 10, take it there. Here he is right here.
Welcome. Welcome to the journey of the best days of your life. Come on now. I said welcome to the journey of the best days of your life. Now, as a side note, I hope you can appreciate what it is I'm wearing here today, being that Air New Zealand never gave me my luggage. Right? So, Australia to the rescue. Other than the shoes, everything I have on is Australian made. So I'm comfortable, so I hope you guys are comfortable. Now, we're going to go on a serious journey here over the next 90 minutes, and it's going to be a fast journey. And what I want to do is I want to share with you something that's real and something that's tangible that you'll be able to use. And this journey consists of you taking a look at how it is I changed my life around and how, in a very unselfish way, I went to go help other people change their life. And I'll share some of the stories with you, as well as how you can go about changing your life. And we're not going to make this complicated. I'm not going to try to make this thing sound like there's some really big mystery here or that there's some big secret that you don't know that I know. It's just really about understanding what the fundamentals are here at work in today's economy and in today's environment that you can tap into and create an unbelievable amount of success. So if I had to sum this up, I would say that you're going to get a really great perspective change. I'm going to help change your perspective and allow you to see something that already exists. It's just that you're not seeing it, or at least you're not seeing it the way that I see it. And actually, to demonstrate what I mean by perspective change, everybody stand up on your feet. Now, I will demonstrate this first, and then you can do it. We're going to point to the ceiling. Don't do it yet. And we're going to turn our finger clockwise, okay? And we're going to turn it clockwise. We're going to pull it down, and we're going to look inside of it. And I want you to scream, not whisper, scream what direction your finger's going. Ready? Point to the ceiling. Turn your finger clockwise, clockwise, clockwise. Pull it down, pull it down, pull it down. Look inside of it. What way is your finger going? What? Oh, come on, do it again. Point to the ceiling. Turn your finger clockwise, clockwise, clockwise. Pull it down, pull it down. Look inside. What way is your finger going? Interesting. Have a seat. Let me ask you this. What changed? Did you change the direction of your finger, yes or no? What was the only thing that changed? Your perspective. So remember this one thing. In life, what you see depends on where you sit. What you see depends on where you sit. See, if you were to take a piece of paper and write a 6 on it right now and go stand on the opposite side of it, what are you most likely to see? A what? Right. So based on where you sit, you're going to see different things. So what it is I'm hoping to give you here is a perspective change. A perspective change, not just for some form of intellectual entertainment, but a perspective change that will show you a real pathway that you can follow that will have you to significantly change your life starting today. Not next week, not a few months from now, not a few years from now, but immediately. But see, here's the thing. When you see this change in perspective, there's something that you're going to have to do. You're going to have to take action if you want to seize the moment and if you want to grasp it and allow this new perspective to turn into something tangible for you. But see, one of the challenges that we face is change itself, because many of us, we like to be comfortable. We want to have all these great things in life, but we want to be comfortable. And what we do is we kind of compete against ourselves. We create these different objectives that conflict with each other. Oh, we want to have this great life, but oh, I don't want to take any risk. Oh, I want to have this great business, but oh, I don't want to do this. Or I want to have this great business. For example, I want to sleep in, but to make this business work or to start some new business, it requires maybe an extra hour or two, and the only extra hour or two that you have available is if you get up early in the morning. But no, you want to sleep late. You get up too early, maybe you're cranky. So what can ultimately happen is you get up late and you're pissed off because you're not doing anything with the business. And you get up early and you're cranky while you're doing something with the business. So what we have to do is we have to understand that it's going to require us to deal with change. We all have to deal with change. Every single one of us, and it's how we deal with the changes that's going to determine how successful we become. Give you an example. Everybody cross your arms. Cross your arms. Look at which wrist is on top. Look at it, look at it. Okay, uncross your arms. Now cross them the opposite way. Now I see some of you struggling. That's okay. Now let me ask you this. Was it as comfortable the second way as it was the first way? Yes or no? But was it possible? Yes. My point. See, change is not all the time comfortable, but it's pretty much all the time possible. So it's really a decision. Are we looking to be comfortable, so therefore we resist the change process? Or are we looking to be successful and we embrace the change process? So it's not really about avoiding change. It's about developing the kind of muscle that will allow us to push through the change process and embrace it and allow ourselves to become more enlightened and stronger and more successful as a result of change. Brings up a story. There was a little girl, and she was young. She was like 16 years old. And she was dealing with all these things in her life, and she didn't really know how to deal with change. So she went to her dad. Her dad was a cook. And she went to her dad and said, Dad, you know, I have all these things in my life that are changing. I just don't know how to deal with it. And he really didn't know how to respond. So he took her into the kitchen. He pulled out 3 pots. And one, he put some carrots. In another one, he put some eggs. And then in another pot, he put some coffee. He let them boil. Then he took them off. And then he put each one into a bowl. And he looked at his daughter and said, what do you see? She was like, I don't understand. He said, what do you see has happened here? She said, oh, wait a second. The carrots used to be hard, and now they're soft. And the eggs, they're the opposite. They used to be soft on the inside, but now they're hard on the inside. And the coffee beans didn't change. It turned the water into coffee. So the question is this. Are you going to become hardened by change and just really angry and pissed off and resistant to the change process? Are you going to become soft as a result of change and become weakened and be woe is me, all these things are changing? Or are you going to use change as raw material and create the kind of life and environment that it is you both deserve and desire? See, what we do with change is a choice. And in my life, if there's anything I know about, it's dealing with the change process. And to kind of give you a little perspective on how it is I got here, I don't have any kind of formal education, okay? No formal education. I mean, let me ask you this. How many here have some kind of degree of some kind? Whoa, okay. How many of you in here have some kind of degree or some kind of you graduated from high school or grad school or something? How many of you haven't? A few of you. Well, I don't have a formal education, okay? No kind of degree. In fact, I was kicked out of school when I was in the 10th grade. I got left with the 10th grade education, and the reason I got kicked out of school is because I was pretty much a menace. I was a menace. I was out of class more so than I was in class, and when I was in class, I was just huge, destructive distraction. Of course, the kids found me to be funny, but the teachers did not find me to be hilarious at all. So I was just politely asked to leave. And what does a kid do when he gets kicked out of school? He hangs out with other kids that are kicked out of school. And what do kids that are kicked out of school do when the adults are working and all the other good kids are in class? They find trouble. And if they can't find it, they'll create it, right? And that's what I did. And because I had no leadership myself, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I just followed the strongest personality, and he didn't know what the hell he wanted to do either. So, you know, we just had this one big pile of mess going on, right? We were just a catastrophe, just traveling from one place to the next. And it didn't really make out for a pretty life at all. I ended up getting involved with the wrong group of people, and I ended up getting shot. How many in here ever been shot before? Okay, well, how many of you ever thought about shooting somebody before? Okay, well, I knew there were some of you guys in here somewhere. You're on one side of the fence. You ain't been shot. You sure as heck felt like shooting somebody. And I still had the bullet in me. And it's not by choice, trust me. It's just that when you have some young guy come into the hospital, he has no insurance cards, they're patting me down, and, they didn't feel like there was a way for them to get paid for doing the surgery. What do you think they did? They said, well, let's just clean this wound up and just tell him the war stories. And that's what they did. They said, well, oh, there's people with bullets in them from Vietnam. You'll be fine. So I still had the bullet in me after all these years. So I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, what in the world am I doing? I still remember that night. I was at the Moses H. Cone Hospital in Greensboro, North Carolina, Fairfield Inn. I went to the hospital. I was at the Fairfield Inn Hotel. I turned the corner, and there he is, a guy that I had a beef with. He stops, he's startled, I'm startled. I didn't know he was coming around the corner. He didn't know I was coming around the corner. And then he put a .22 right to my head. And now everything that I had in my power was ultimately taken away in that moment because he had a decision to make. And if he had ice in his veins, he could have took me out like that. And I would never have the privilege to be in front of you right now to share with you how that became a defining moment for me. But luckily, I got the lesser of the two evils. He decided to shoot me someplace else. Okay? And then he ran off. But he did shoot me. So there I am. I'm laying there. I'm thinking, what in the world am I going to do with my life? Because my life is littered with all of these missed opportunities and these bad decisions. And I was in that place, not as a victim of an environment, not as a result of my parents, but because of the decisions that I made. And initially that was hard for me to own up to, because it's easy for us to tell these stories on how we are where we are because of something somebody else did. It's always somebody else's fault. And that's a really comfortable place for us to be in because we don't want it to be our fault. But I had to own up to the fact that I was there as a result of the decisions that I made. And just like I got into that bad place from those decisions, I can make new decisions. So I decided that, you know what, if there's any other best time to change my life, that was that moment. So I was in the Moses H. Cone Hospital for like 2 weeks. And then I left. My dad and my brother and one of the pastors from the church that my family went to, they came and picked me up. And there I am, trying to figure out what in the world I'm going to do with my life. So being that I was very impressionable, and I really, at that age, I was just thinking about money, 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 becoming wealthy, rich, rich, rich. And I felt like, well, heck, let me become an entrepreneur. Let me start a business. So I started going through all these money-making opportunity magazines and finding all these things. And one thing after the next was failing. For some reason, I couldn't get things to work. And, of course, that was somebody else's fault. You know what I mean? A business didn't work. That's not my fault. It was always their fault. Something wrong with the program, something wrong with this, something wrong with that. It was never me. But if there was one pattern that I recognized, is that I was the one common denominator in every single one of those failures. So, I had to come face to face with myself in the mirror and say, listen, you're a screw up, dude. Seriously. And if I continue to go down this path, regardless of how well-intended I may have been, I'm not going to really make much of my life. I have all these stories to tell people. Oh, yeah, I tried that one. Oh, no, I did that one. And I did try to do a lot of different things, but they just didn't work out for me. And they didn't work out for me not because a lot of these programs were bad, although there were some bad programs. They didn't work out because I was a bad executor. I executed more in my mind than I did in actuality. I have all these ideas. Oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. But when it came time to put my hand to the plow, I had all these stories on why, nah, not right now. Oh, maybe later. I'll put it off till tomorrow. I felt good in the moment. Tomorrow comes, I put it off till the next day. And I just never really made any progress. And as a result of that, I really made a lot of people mad because I was borrowing money from them because I didn't have a job. So I eventually just tapped out all of my resources. Nobody wanted to give me any more money. And along this road, I filed bankruptcy. And I ended up becoming homeless. So there I am, rock bottom, and then I meet a guy. He owns a mortgage company. He allows me to sleep on the floor of one of his empty office spaces. So at least I'm not outside anymore. But for me to get clean, I had to go into the bathroom. I had to go into the bathroom of this public office building when people weren't there to clean myself up. and you know they don't have towels in there, and they don't necessarily have the softest tissue either. You know the little hard brown paper towels? I mean, you try not to cut yourself when you dry yourself off. Pretty rough, but that was my life. And I was angry. I was angry. I mean, I was so angry, I really felt like I had anger problems and needed anger management. I would put my fist through walls. I was just pissed off. And sometimes all these things just collided in my life. I was just angry. The sun wasn't shining right or something. I was just angry. You know what I'm talking about? When you're angry for so long, you feel like you've been betrayed by so many different people. It seems like life has dealt you a bad hand. It seems like no matter what it is you do, it doesn't work. Everybody else is better than you. Everybody else can succeed and do this, and it seems like they can do it with ease. But no, 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 no. If you do it, it ain't going to work. All of a sudden, the opportunity is no longer working the moment you get involved with it. Well, that's how I felt. That's exactly how I felt. So I got to the point where I was just like, I just had to throw up my hands, you know? And I decided to take a vacation, if you will, off of this trying to get wealthy thing. I felt like I could become wealthy. I just didn't think or know exactly how it was going to work. And then I got to this point where I became very, very depressed. I just started to evaluate my life. And what happened was I was visiting my family's house, and one of my family members looked at me and said, you know, everything you touch turns to dust. I was floored. I was completely broken and devastated inside. I mean, to have somebody that you love that has raised you for so long to look you in your eye and tell you that, I mean, to me, it was devastating. It was like putting a knife into my heart and just turning it. And I sat there, I was very emotional, and I sat there and tried to find a way to find some kind of reference point to combat that and say, no, no, that's not true because I did well in this. I did well in that, and I couldn't find anything. And it's not that anything wasn't there, but in that high intensity of emotion, in that moment, I couldn't find anything. So my perspective started to change. And I started to think, you know what? I'm just one of these guys that's damned for failure for the rest of his life. I'm the ones that's supposed to make all the smart people look really, really smart. You know what I mean? The wealthy people look really, really wealthy. I just seemed to have gotten to that point. And then I learned that perspective is everything. Perceptions are everything. That I was, lying to myself, and I was taking in these opinions in other people, and I was making them myself of my own opinions, if you will, and I was having it to shape my identity and what I felt about myself and what I believed was possible. Let me give you an example of how that actually looked. There's this poodle. Poodles don't survive in the wilderness, but there's this poodle in the wilderness, and the poodle noticed that he's being tracked by a leopard, right? Now, what is this little poodle going to do about this leopard? So he kind of gets away from the leopard, and all of a sudden sees the leopard coming again, and there's these bones. So he has to try to pull a move. So he does. He goes and sits in front of the bones with his back to the leopard, and once the leopard gets close enough, he says, that was one good tasting leopard. I need to find me another one. And then the leopard stops, because the leopard didn't know what this was. So the leopard backs up and says, whew, it almost got me. Because he didn't know what it was. So the leopard goes off. It's like, man, that was a close one. All along, it's a monkey watching this whole charade. And the monkey's like, no, 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 no. The monkey tracks down the leopard and says, I want some protection out here in the jungle. And I want the protection in exchange for some information. Leopard says, okay. The monkey tells him the whole thing that's going on. And then the leopard really gets upset. Throws the monkey on his back and says, we're going to go settle this once and for all. Meanwhile, the poodle sees this going on. And now the poodle's nervous. The poodle thought he was out of it, but here they go again. So the poodle goes to another set of bones. And he waits, he sees them coming. And once the monkey and the leopard get close enough, he says, where's that damn monkey? I asked it to get me a leopard an hour ago. So the leopard had monkey instead of poodle, okay? But the point is, was the leopard able to eat the poodle? Absolutely, easily. But the leopard was listening to the talk of the poodle. And what the poodle was saying, the leopard allowed to shape what he thought was possible. And in our lives, many of us, we're listening to these lies about what we believe is possible. So you have infinite potential. and you live in a world that's filled with infinite riches. The only thing that's keeping you into a prison of poverty or lack or underperformance financially is what you personally believe is possible for yourself, what it is you're focusing on, the images that you're holding on your mind, the things that you're saying to yourself, and how you're feeling, because those 5 things are the things that really dictate what it is you're going to do in any given moment. And it's all based on perceptions, because at the end of the day, perceptions is reality. That's it, regardless of what's real. What you perceive to be real is your reality. So I had to do something about that. You know, it's not like I had a lot of great reference points, so what I did is I started to read. I didn't have any mentors, and there weren't great seminars like this that I can go to. So I had to start reading. I started reading the Bible like crazy, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, all kinds of books by Norman Vincent Peale and W. Clement Stone, and all kinds of things. And while I started to get this new perspective of what's possible and, you know, what humans can really do and what our true potential is, I started to also see that there's people that went through things that were just as bad as I went through or worse. So it gave me some new reference points. And then I started to say, wait a second, I can do this. But while in my mind I was thinking this, emotionally I didn't have proper alignment. So I got this renewed hope that my life can change, just like your life can change. And this guy allowed me to use his computer. So for me, it was great. I can go online, you know, my life is a mess. I can go online, use his computer, and have some form of distraction. So I started with a borrowed computer. How many here have your own computers? You're already ahead of where I started. How many here have your own internet connection? I started with somebody else's computer, somebody else's internet connection. So, not having a job, and it's not that I couldn't get one, but you know the whole story. Oh, I'm not going to go flip burgers or work in a convenience store or anything like that. I had that attitude. Not that it was the right attitude to have at that point in time, but that was my attitude. And when I did go work at a little store, I would leave in like a few days, right? I'm just like, this ain't me. So I'm using the computer, and literally for hours on hours every single day. I didn't have anything else to do. And while I'm doing this, something happens. Somebody sends a book to that office that talks about futures and commodities. And it was by Ken Roberts, for those who know who he is. And I became fascinated by what I was reading here about what these people were doing in the futures and commodities market. So I started searching online, and I found some websites that had these charts on the futures and commodities markets, and I started to follow them. And I was becoming excited. I was like, wow, I didn't know what I was really looking at, but I was just excited. But as time went on, I started to understand what it was I was seeing. And I don't know how this happened, but I started to develop an ability to know the short-term direction of markets. Okay, I couldn't even tell you at that time how I was doing it, but I developed that ability. And there were news groups out at this time, and news groups were pretty much a mess. Okay, they weren't like what we have out today in the form of forums. But I would go into this news group. It was one specific news group that I would go into. And I would post what I thought was a good trade pick. I would say, hey, buy sugar at this, or buy cocoa at that, or lean hogs, whatever. And I would just post it in there. And after a few weeks went by, somebody had posted in there, hey, your trades are outperforming most of the paid advisory services that these guys are subscribing to. I was like, wow, that was pretty exciting. Got a little shot in the arm. My self-esteem got a little boost. But then reality set back in. It was like, okay, but that was pretty much all it was at that point in time. So I kept on doing it. And then I get the request that starts a chain of events that changes my life. Somebody said, you know what, can you put these things on a website? You know, because it's like difficult going in here scrolling through all this stuff to find your post. So I'm like, well, that's interesting, but I didn't know how to put up a website. How many here don't know how to put up a website? Okay, I had no idea how to put up a website. I knew it could be done because I was visiting them, but I had no idea how to do it. And back then, hosting was expensive. This was in the late 1990s. Hosting was expensive. Registering your domain was expensive relative to the position I was in at that time, as well as what they cost today. So I'm like, whoa, I need to search and try to find out how to do this. And then I found a company called freeyellow.com. They don't do this anymore, but back then, they would give you a free subdomain to host on their domain. So I was excited. I was like, I can do this. And then he had this little thing that would help you build the website, you know? So I go in there and I put up this ugly website. You wouldn't believe how ugly it was. But you know how one person's ugly baby is their pretty baby? You know what I'm talking about? So it was ugly. I mean, it was ugly, but that was my first website. So that was my ugly baby. You know what I mean? And I was proud of my ugly baby. You know, I knew people was ugly, but I knew people knew that website was ugly, but they weren't going to say anything to me about it. So I'm ready to let everybody know about this website. But I want to find out how many people are coming to the site. So here I am. I'm like, how do you figure out how many people are coming to your site? So I find this site that allows you to put this free code on your site. I'm like, cool. It's like a visitor tracker. So I put the code on the website, and I'm getting everything ready, and I noticed the numbers was changing. I was like, whoa. And then I would refresh the page, and the number would change again. And I refresh the page, and I'm like, I haven't even told anybody the site is up yet. And people were coming to the site. I refreshed it, changed. I refreshed it, changed. As fast as I was refreshing it, the number was changing. I was excited. It was like, this is unbelievable. But the slower I would refresh, the slower the number was changing. And then I figured out that all that time was me. So it was not really the best kind of code to have on a website. Okay, so I took that code off, and I told everybody, I said, the website's up. You come over here and get this stuff. And people were going over there. I just didn't know how many. And then I get another request. They said, can you send these things to us in email? Okay, well, I didn't know how to do that. Now, how in the world do you email stuff to people? You have no freaking idea who they are or where they are. So I go searching again, and I find bcentral.com, which is still an active site. They don't really provide the kinds of services today like they did back then, but I found bcentral.com, and they gave you a free code you can put on your website. And the only thing you can collect back then, though, was email addresses. Today, you can collect names and phone numbers, fax numbers, and all kinds of stuff. Back then, the only thing they allowed you to collect was email. So you know how you get customized and personalized emails today, like, hey, John, hey, Tim, and all this? All I could send out was, hey. That was it. You couldn't say anything other than hey, or hey, friend, or what's up, or whatever, because you had no first names. So I put the code on the website, and then I put the little announcement on there that they can subscribe, and I went back to the news group and told them. And in just under 2 weeks, over 1,200 people subscribed in that box. And I was just, wow. I never knew 1,200 people, right? I didn't even think 1,200 people even knew who I was. But 1,200 people, I'm sitting back, I'm like, man, this is amazing. But that's all it was, 1,200 people. So I start sending these things out in email, and then I get the email that really starts to change my life. A guy sends me an email. He says, hey, can I pay you to teach me how to pick trades the way you pick trades? I didn't even know how I was picking these trades. I was just doing this stuff. But I'm like, oh, no. For one, I don't know how I'm picking these trades. And two, I'm not the guy you want to pay any money to. I had a very low self-esteem. My low self-esteem started to kick in at that point in time. Very low self-esteem. And I'm like, I got really uncomfortable. So I sent him a response back. And listen, indirect no. And it almost seems like as fast as I sent it to him, he replied back and said, well, I'll pay you $5,000. Now, he really wants to pay me to do this. 5,000 whole legal dollars, no cops knocking, right? Nobody's looking for you. So I spent that $5,000 before he even sent it, right? You know how that goes. Somebody say they're going to give you some money. It's spent. Now it's like, you better give me that money, right? So I'm like, I'll figure out how I'm picking these trades. And I did. And I packaged the whole thing up, and I sent it to him, and I was like, this is amazing. Why in the world, would this guy want to pay me to learn how to pick these trades? I was blown away by it. $5,000. I mean, I hadn't had $5,000 in my pocket legally in a long time at that point, right? So I step back, and I say, well, wait a second. Why did he want to do that? So I go and look at the free daily trades over the last 12 months, which gives you some perspective on how long I was doing that for free. And on paper, for those that know about trading, there was paper trading because I didn't have money to trade it. But on paper, the free daily trades have produced over $725,000 in net profits. So as I thought about it, that $5,000 was this low number. And he was probably just as shocked that I accepted it as I was that he offered it, right? Because he would have been willing to pay me $25,000 or even $50,000 to learn how to pick nearly $1 million a year in winning trades. So I'm getting a little excited, but a little depressed at the same time, and looking at what it is I missed out on, because I didn't really appreciate what it was I was offering. But what I did was I stepped back and said, who else would want to pay me to learn how to pick trades the way I'm picking these trades? But I didn't want to be anybody's teacher doing that stuff because I didn't feel like that was my gig. But I said, I'm already putting out, on average, whether it was a new trade or an open trade being managed, on average around 35 trades a day. I was just doing this stuff. I didn't have anything else to do. I said, well, wait a second, I'll start a service. So I did in the year 2000. In January of 2000 is when I officially opened up the service. I only had around 1,200 people on my list. And I took some of the money, got my own domain, registered it, and got my own web hosting. And I wrote a little letter. I didn't really know how to write a sales letter, but I did know how to talk to people and say, hey, I'll do this, you'll get this, if you're not happy, I'll give you your money back. So I put up this short letter, and I say, I'm going to start this service, and I'm going to charge people $350 per month to get these premium trades, as I call them. So I was going to keep the free daily trades going. And I decided to put it up. I have 1,200 people. I don't know what their names are, so I have to send this blank email to everybody. And I put together this one little paragraph that told them what it was I was doing. And in less than 2 weeks, over 100 people signed up. I went from zero, borrowing somebody else's computer and internet connection, to over $35,000 per month. And my first total 12 months on the internet, I did over $500,000 in business. My wife and I turned that entire business into a multi-million-dollar business. We went into the internet marketing market and turned that into a multi-million-dollar business. Went into the personal development market, turned that into a multi-million-dollar business. Went into coaching, consulting, and speaking, turned that into a multi-million-dollar business. Every single one. And I've spoken in more places around this world to more people than any of my peers. As a result of what it is, I feel it's a proven pattern that works. And I do it not because I have to, I do it because I want to. Because I know what it feels like to be frustrated. I know what it feels like to have lack. I know what it feels like to feel like you're boxed in, and in a world of opportunity, you're drowning in it. And I think that's what a lot of people are doing. They're drowning in a sea of opportunity. Most people think they're drowning in a sea of debt. No, you're drowning in a sea of opportunity. There's more opportunity available to us today than any other point in time in human history. Today, people are doing less with more. It doesn't make any sense. But the reason this happening is because we don't have clarity on what's been already proven to work. What are the set patterns? And that's what I want to talk to you about here. I don't want to talk to you about a bunch of hype. I want to talk to you about something that is proven to work time and time again. Something that is pretty much a sure bet to work for you if you apply it. How many are interested in that? But so you can understand what it is I mean, think about this. Think about the English language. How many here understand English? Okay. Now, for those of you that didn't raise your hand, either you're lazy or you don't understand a word that I'm saying right now, right? Think about the English language. There's millions and millions and millions and millions of books written in English, right? Millions written in English. But despite how many different books there are on different topics, different genres, or whatever, the one thing they all have in common is a combination of 26 letters. Follow me here. How many here like art? How many like movies? I love art and movies, maybe more movies than art. I love high-definition movies, Blu-ray disc movies. But I like art. But think about it. Movies in all their splendid color, and art with all these diverse colors, all use a combination of the same primary three colors. Are you following me here? What about music? How many here like music? Just all kinds of music, rap music, rock music, country music, speed metal music, slow music, fast music, the music you love, the music you hate. But whether you like the music or you don't like the music, the one thing they all have in common are the 12 notes on the musical scale. The music you love and the music you hate are using the exact same notes. What does that mean? That means in a world that seems to be very complex, if you remove the complexity and you get down to the root of it, it comes down to a few simple things that are done in different combinations. And that's when I discovered is not just what you do, it's how you do it. The difference between a best-selling book and a no-selling book is not the letters themselves, because they both have the same 26 letters. It's how the letters are used. How many understand what I'm talking about? So we're talking about knowing not just what to do, but how to do it. So can we hand out the worksheets and everything, please? So what I'm going to give you here is a pattern, okay? A pattern that I know works, okay? In this whole world of making money on the internet, there's a gazillion things that can be thrown at you that can make you rather confused and sometimes make you even go cross-eyed if you're not even familiar with how this stuff works. But what it is I want you to understand is that we want to just strip away all the complexities. We want to strip away all the hype. And we want to get down to what is the root of this entire thing? What is the root? What is the core pattern here? What is the part that is the most predictable that if you follow it, you can replicate other people's results? And that's what it is we're going to talk about here. But when it comes down, can we put our slides up, please? Before we get into that, though, take a look at this. That is where my wife and I now live. A $2.4 million estate, 4.3 acres, 12,000 square foot house that is automated like a five-star luxury hotel. That's the part where you clap. Seriously, if you talk about going from where it is you are to where it is you ultimately want to be, I'm like a poster child of how that happens. And this is why I do this, because I know what's possible for you. But I know that you have to have yourself together, because regardless of the car you pick, the engine has to function. The car can be real estate. It can be network marketing or MLM. It can be direct sales. It can be franchising. It can be in the internet. But you represent the engine and the fuel that makes that thing work. And if you're not together, then nothing's going to work out for you. Because regardless of how far technology has come and regardless of where the internet is allowing us to be today, we can never remove the human element out of business. So one of the things that I do when I'm working with people is I deal with the soft stuff as well as the hard stuff. Because I know you have to be built up. You know, let me ask you this. If you have a car and you run out of gas, what do? What do? You get gas, right? And that's what I tell people. I say, get gas. And gas is actually an acronym. G, be grateful. Have gratitude. We can oftentimes spend so much of our life thinking about what it is we want and where it is we are that we start wrestling and stressing over what it is we don't have. And for many people, that is not a peaceful place. It's not a place where they can be creative and they can be resourceful so they can build and do ultimately what it is they want to build and do and become what it is they want to become. But coming from a place of gratitude, you can find greater peace. And you can be more resourceful. You can be more focused. So I say in everything it is you do, there's nothing wrong with longing for bigger, more, and better. It's a part of all of us. I think it's just ingrained in all of our DNA. But don't do that in such a way where you thumb your nose at what it is you already have. Regardless of how dissatisfied you may be right now, be grateful that you have the opportunity to even be in this room and have the opportunity to change your life. So in everything it is we're doing, I say you have to be grateful. And the A is you have to affirm. You have to really, really affirm who you are. I do things what people call identity reconstruction, because for many people, they need that. And if they don't reconstruct their identity, regardless of the opportunities in front of them, they're not going to take advantage of them. So you want to also affirm who you are. Don't affirm the negative. Don't affirm what hasn't worked. You want to affirm who you are. And the S is you want to make sure you have strategies, systems, and support. Strategies, systems, and support. And that's what it is that we want to talk about here. That's what allows us to be able to go into this particular place. And we bring our clients out. We have a media room that costs over $200,000, fiber optic ceilings, an unbelievable place. Actually, Tom Block came to our house. We had a big old networking party at our house. Jay Abraham was there, T. Harbecker was there, Joe Polish was there, Chet Holmes was there, tons of people were at our house. I mean, think about it, going from homeless to that particular place. Oh, he was at our house. Raise your hand. Were you at our house? Am I telling the truth? Yes or no? Yeah, he was at our house. Great. Actually, we had a small group seminar there, and he came. We had a great time. He's actually at the networking party. We had a great time, didn't we? Yeah. Every bedroom in our house has a 42-inch LCD high-definition flat-screen television. Wall panels where you can touch and pull up any movie from our media center and watch it in your room. Every room has its own isolated sound. You can pull up songs. Our master bedroom is over 1,700 square feet all by itself with a sauna and a jacuzzi. And we have a jacuzzi out back where the pool is. That back area right there is my office and my home studio. Going to that place from homeless. These are some other pictures of the grounds. I just go through those quick. But what I want us to do here is to prepare ourselves, okay? I want us to get our minds together here as we do this, because what we're going to go over, I'm going to go over it rather fast. I just want you to get the essence of it, okay? I want you to get the essence of it, and we can discuss later going into the actual details and actually helping you to execute it. But right now, I want you to at least understand what this pattern is, to remove the complexity on how this thing works. So to do this, I need you guys to be focused. I need you to be what? Focused. I need you to be what? Focused. So to do that, what I want you to do is look at the team in the white shirts. What color shirts? White. And I want you to count how many times they pass the basketball, okay? What we want to do is we want to focus. Look at the person next to you and say, don't bother me. You're right, because what we want to do is we want to focus. We're going to look at the team in what color shirts? White. What color? And we're going to count how many times they pass the basketball. You guys ready? Yes. Are you ready? Yes. Let's begin. White shirts, count how many times they pass the basketball. Focus, focus. You can do it. Focus, focus, focus. Team in the white shirts, count how many times they pass the basketball. Very good, very good. Focus, focus, focus. Team in the white shirts, count how many times they pass the basketball. White shirts, count that ball, count that ball. Count that ball. You can do it. You can do it. Count that ball. Team in the white shirts. Team in the white shirts. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. Yes. Now, shout out the number. Who says 16? Who says 17? Who says 18? 19s? Any 20s? Okay, 16s. 17s. Okay, 18s. Okay, 16s. 17s. Who counted one gorilla? This time what I want you to do is this. I want you to watch, and I want you to raise your hand the moment you see the gorilla. The moment you see the gorilla, I want you to raise your hand. And keep your hand up. Oh, no, keep your hand up, keep looking. Now, I have a question for you. How in the world could a gorilla in all black, which is a huge contrast to white, walk on the screen, stop, beat its chest, and walk off, and like 80 to 90% of you completely missed it? I'll tell you exactly how it happened. It's how your brain works. I told you exactly what to focus on. And because you focused on that, your brain deleted out all the other stuff, even though it was present. Why is that important to know? Because if all you do is focus on what's not working, what didn't work in the past, what people think about you, what your family thinks about you, it doesn't matter how many opportunities are in your midst, you're going to miss them. You're going to feel like you can't, or you won't even see it. How many understand what I'm talking about? This is how your brain works. So when you decide to hold certain images of yourself or what's possible or impossible for your life, when you decide to use language that is destructive instead of constructive, when you start to look at the past and how horrible it is, or the future or how impossible it is, you are shaping yourself to fail. You are setting yourself up to lose. Because you're going to miss all the possibilities that are sitting right in front of you, literally right in your face. They're going to sit there and you're going to miss them. We have to decide what we're going to focus on. And today we're focusing on changing your life. Right or wrong? Right. Yes or no? Because today is the day, right? Yes. And we're going to do it right now. Yes. Right now. Not just now, but right now. You guys ready? Yes. Okay, so how to be a profit taker. You should have this form with you. Your IPT process. Hold this up if you have it. Look at this. This in a nutshell is all you need to know to make millions of dollars on the internet. Don't let anybody tell you anything different, okay? If a person cannot synthesize down to one piece of paper what is required for you to become successful, they probably don't know what the heck they're talking about. I am not kidding you. Processes should be simplified. They should remove the complexity. In fact, true leadership is the ability to take something that is complex and not remove the complexity, but still simplify it. So if it's this and this and this and this and this and this and this, and a person can't synthesize and give you, this is in essence what it is you're doing, then I have to question the process. Or at least question their understanding of the process. Okay? So what it is I'm giving you here is a simple look of 7 basic steps that are repeated again and again and again. And the first one is market research, okay? Market research is basically understanding who you're going to be targeting, what it is they need, and why, okay? Now, forgive me, but we're not going to be able to deep dive into this, but I just want to give you the essence of how this works, okay? But the number one question you have to ask yourself when you're doing market research, and you're going to want to write this down, is where can I win? Where can I win? Why is that important? Well, many times people think about what they're good at and what their strengths are, but here's the thing. Everything that's considered fast or slow, big or small, strong or weak, gets its characteristics through relative comparisons. So if you feel as if you're strong at something, you're strong compared to what? If you feel as if you're weak at something, you're weak as compared to what? Are you following what I'm talking about here? And the reason we have to identify where we can win is because most people, we obsess with what do I need to do and how do I need to do it. But we don't all the time consider where I should do it. Let me ask you this. If you were to run east to see the sunset, how many would be successful? Running east to see the sunset. How many would be successful? Running east. Some of you may need a compass. Running east. Running east to see the sunset, how many would be successful? Well, let me ask you this. What if you had on a pair of specially engineered shoes designed by Nike just for your quest to run east to see the sunset? How many would be successful? What if you had a matching sweatsuit and you really looked good? How many would see the sunset? What if Red Bull and Gatorade made a special combined drink of some kind to give you all the energy you need to run east to see the sunset? How many would be successful? But what if you had the best trainer? I mean, he trained world-class athletes, gold medal athletes, so you got the right technique as you're running. How many would see the sunset? But let me ask you this. If you were to run west, butt naked, how many would see the sunset? And here's the point. If you do it in the wrong place, you'll never have enough resources. But if you do it in the right place, it doesn't take nearly as many resources as you think. Are you following me here? So one of the things we always have to consider is the terrain. Where can I win? Because all competition takes place at a very specific place and at a very specific time. So where can I win? And how important is the role of the terrain? Let's look at it like this. Okay, everybody here has to place a bet. There's a fight taking place between a crocodile and a bear. How many of you in here says the crocodile is going to win? Raise your hands. Crocodile. Crocodile fans? Crocodile fans? Okay, hands down. How many says the bear is going to win? Bear fans? Bear fans? Bear fans? How many of you have no freaking idea? Okay. Hey, if you don't know, don't place the bet. Okay, so let's change one thing. Let's say that the crocodile and the bear are going to fight in the depths of swampy water. Who says the crocodile is going to win? Oh, now everybody's showing up. Okay, now we're going to change it one more time. Let's say they're going to fight in the depths of the wooded areas, in the depths of the woods, trees everywhere. Who says the bear is going to win? What was the only thing that changed? Right. Did the strength of the crocodile change? No. Did the strength of the bear change? No. But they're either enhanced or diminished by the choice of the terrain. It's like if you follow one thing that I'm a really big student of strategy. It's based on where my life has come from. I'm not just talking about business strategy. I'm talking about political strategy, courtroom strategy, military strategy. I study strategy like you wouldn't believe. I have hundreds of books on all types of strategy. And one of the things I look at how wars were fought of old, whether it's Alexander the Great, Spartacus, or the Spartans, Attila the Hun, all these different people, just to understand how generals would think in strategy when it comes to being strategic. And if you look at how the Spartans fought the Persians, you're talking about 300 Spartans and maybe like another 7,000, Greeks going against 250,000 Persians. See, the Spartans knew that they were really good at combat and even far superior. But they knew the only way to win was to pick terrain that would be in their favor. So what they did is they picked terrain that would remove the strength of the Persians, which was their size and numbers. So because they chose that terrain, outside of the fact that they were betrayed, which ultimately got them outflanked and they lost, they were whipping the crap out of people that were outnumbering them by an unbelievable margin. And they did that by picking the right terrain. So you have to understand that. that if you pick the wrong place, you can burn up all of your resources, and you'll be frustrated, and all of your good efforts are for naught. And it doesn't have to be that way. So we want to make sure that we know where we can win. That's one of the basic things about market research. Now, here's some quick words you can use, okay? You can write down free keywords at wordtracker.com. This is a very basic thing, but you can put in these words in this keyword search tool, and it can help you to discover and find out what some people are looking for, okay? You know, if you put in how to, it may say how to play a guitar. If you know how to play a guitar, that may be a hit for you, okay? That may be a mark to follow. You know, instructions. Maybe it's some kind of golfing instructions or something. But by putting in these words, it allows you to discover what people are proactively searching on. And if you find a match to something that you're really good at, or you know other people that are good at, that may be a potential area to explore. Now, don't get me wrong, this is by no means the most comprehensive way to do any kind of market research. And in fact, doing a lot of online research really comes up short. I mean, through popular use, many people use keyword search tools to find out how many people are searching for things online. I'll give you an example. You can go searching for quilting. And if you search for quilting, a typical keyword research tool may bring back 30, 40, 50,000 searches. And that would look like a really big market, but there's a huge gap because there's over 21 million quilters in the United States alone. So there's a huge group of people that are missing. So I just want you, I'm mentioning that because I want you to keep the right perspective that when you do online market research, it's not really that comprehensive. When you use keyword search tools, now there's other means where you can get a more comprehensive look at a market. But I'm just saying this is just a quick place to start. Okay, so take your worksheet, okay, and we're going to speed this up here. Take your worksheet, put your name on it, put your email on it, okay? I'm not collecting it. I just want you to participate. All right? If you want to give it to me, I'll take it. All right, so I want you to select the market. Go through the process. Select the market. I have up here circled vegetarian market. Okay? There's all kinds of markets out there. Numerous markets. All right, this right here is Adam. I told you along the way I wanted to share with you stories of other people that, after understanding how I did it, they followed the pattern and did it themselves. Adam, when I first met him, he was 19 years old. Okay? He's 21 years old now. But when I met him, he was 19 years old, and he wanted to work with us, and it took some time for me to say yes, but I said yes early last year in 2007. In March, we officially started to work with him, okay? Helped him to define a market for himself and get himself positioned. By December of last year, he had made over $250,000. He's 21 years old. Now he has a great business. He has employees, I think like 3 employees working for him now, and he lives in Perth, okay? So it happens all over the world. Adam is just one. Who in here is younger than 21? Who in here is older than 21? I wouldn't have known, right? So if he at 21 years old can do it, you should be able to do it, right? What does he know that you don't know? What you have in front of you right now is exactly what he knows. There's a very basic pattern to making this work, and now you have that pattern in front of you. So step 2 is income streams. There's really only 3 ways to get paid. There's a 4th way, but there's 3 primary ways to get paid. You can get paid per click, you can get paid per lead, or you can get paid per sale. Now, I know there's all kinds of fancy ways to dress this up and say you can make money doing this, you can make money doing that. Yeah, there's probably a gazillion ways to make money on the internet, but you really only get paid 3 ways. So let's just keep this simple for a minute. If you're talking about AdSense, that's paid per click. But AdSense is only one of over 88 different programs that will pay you per click, and they're not the ones that even pay out the most. Okay? So that's paid per click. You may want to write that down on your worksheet. And then there's like paid per lead programs. Paid per lead programs are programs where a person will pay you if you send traffic over them, they take a certain action like fill out a survey, a questionnaire, or enter a contest or something. For example, the American Diabetes Association in the United States, obviously, they'll pay you $30 per lead for each person you send to their website that requests a free diabetic kit. All they do is request a free diabetic kit, and you get paid $30. So that's like a paid per lead program. And there's another company, InsureMe.com. InsureMe.com, they have different programs. I think their lowest payout is like $7.50, and then their highest may be like $11.50. But what happens is when a person goes over there and requests an insurance quote, they don't have to buy the insurance. All they do is request a quote. And if they request a quote, what happens is they'll pay you for that person just requesting the quote. That's it. They don't have to buy the insurance. So those are pay per lead programs. Now picture this. That's a world where you're getting paid and people haven't bought anything yet. If paid per click were in retail, that would be like having a retail store open and you get paid every time somebody just picked up a product they were interested in. They didn't even have to buy the product. All they had to do was pick it up because they were interested in it and maybe they read the label and you got paid off of that. Who wouldn't go into that retail business? All you got to do is get people in and start having them touch stuff. Hey, touch that, touch that, touch that. Right? That's how it would work. And then pay per lead would almost be like somebody taking the product to the counter and asking for more information, but they still haven't purchased anything. That's the world that we live in. You know, pay per sale is pretty simple. People are selling stuff and you're making money. All right? If it's your product and you sell it, you keep 100%. If it's your product and somebody is selling it with you or for you, such as an affiliate, then you keep whatever the split is. Maybe it's 50%. So you're keeping 50% and you're paying them 50%. If you're an affiliate of somebody else's product, then you're getting paid whatever your agreed percentage is. Maybe that's 50%. But here's the thing, at the end of the day, rather it's one of the 88 different programs will pay you per click, or one of the 52 different programs that will pay you per lead, or the what seems like gazillion different products where you can get paid per sale, it's still paid per click, paid per lead, paid per sale. The fourth one that we won't discuss, but you can just write it down, is paid per post. Okay? Not something that you may want to look into because it still requires a lot of work, but what I'm doing here is I'm simplifying it for you. Paid per post. Post, P-O-S-T. Okay? So these are different ways that you can translate the 3 different ways you get paid into actual strategies. A membership site. If you had a membership site and people are paying you a monthly fee, then you're getting paid per sale. Okay? Ebook and you were selling it, paid per sale, whether it's your ebook or somebody else's. If you were giving away things for free, like maybe you're giving away free content on a website, and you have these ads on there where you're getting paid per click, then if that's the way you're monetizing it, you're getting paid per click. eBay profits, paid per sale. People can make money on eBay, but it's still paid per sale. You're selling something and you're getting paid. It's just a bidding process, but it's still at the end of the day, it's paid per sale. eBay is just a model to use to make a profit. Amazon, same thing. Paid per sale. Amazon has a max payout of 10%, but it's still paid per sale. AdSense, paid per click. Yeah, AdSense, Google, and all this kind of stuff, but it's paid per click. Website flipping. If you're flipping websites, for example, same thing. You sell the website, you get paid. It's paid per sale. So while there's a numerous number of models you can use to make a profit, understand that at the end of the day, you're getting paid per click, paid per lead, or paid per sale. How many understand that? Okay, let's keep it simple here. Sometimes we can get so confused, like, oh my gosh, there's all these different ways I can make money on the internet. No, there's 3 ways you get paid. Now, which one of those or which combination of those do you want to use? And then which models do you want to use to make that happen? Okay, so let's keep this simple. Okay, so circle 2. I say circle paid per click and paid per sale. Those are 2 that are really easy to put in a combination with each other, okay? This is Greg Caesar. Greg came to us, a person just like you, sitting in a chair, listening to me talk. He enjoyed it, said, I'll buy Stephen Pierce Coaching and see how this thing works out for me. And he got this product idea from my wife, so I can't take credit for it. But the product idea was based on something his wife knew, not something that he knew. He turned it into an ebook, sold it for $29.95. And now he has a very successful company, but I show this because this was his roots and the genesis of his whole internet business. But his first 11 months, he made over $161,000 selling this less than $30 ebook online for single moms. So this is a demonstration of what's really possible here. So step 3 is info products, okay? We created a ton of different info products. I've created over 200 different products. We have a very fine-tuned, well-oiled machine when it comes to creating products internally or outsourcing it out to other people. Now on your sheet, you'll see there's some different ways you can do it. Like you can create it yourself. The PLR is like private label rights. You can get public domain rights. You can get resale rights. You can outsource it to a ghostwriter to write it for you. You can acquire the rights like buying it up from somebody, or you can get resale rights or rebrand rights or something like this. So there's different ways to go about getting information products. The thing to understand is that they offer you some of the best margins and an easy route to having an automated business. Okay, so whether it's your information or somebody else's information, it doesn't matter. Okay? It's a very fast route to creating a ton of money online, okay? Okay, these are some different elements right here to keep in mind. You don't have to write these down. These are different elements that every winning website has in common, okay? At the base, the fundamentals, if a website is successful selling an information product, it has these elements in common. Okay, let me show you an example of one of my first physical trading products. This is Fibonacci Secrets. Okay, my first physical trading product was one of the first products that did desktop Camtasia tutorials that show people how to, using video, to trade the markets. And I was showing them how to trade Fibonacci levels. So here's some of the elements. Website, okay, you see the headline and all that kind of stuff. This right here is what we call just-in-time bonuses. You have your regular bonuses and then the just-in-time bonuses, which are the ones that people get if they respond within a certain number of time, between a certain period of time or quantity or whatever. All right, testimonials. There's 3 kinds of testimonials. You can get text, which is just written testimonials, audio testimonials, which is what this is, and that's why you see the audio button, or video testimonials. But the thing is, having those testimonials on your website can validate whatever it is you're saying and demonstrate that it's something that other people can do. These are just the regular bonuses, all right? Guarantee. Every product worth its weight in gold will have a guarantee. And I'm not going to talk about copywriting, but you can mention your guarantee for the most part in 2 different ways because people view the world differently. So you can tell one person you have 3 months, 3-month money-back guarantee, and they may be like, but if you tell them you have a full 90 days, that may translate to them as more time. So we have to kind of keep that in mind. So what we see here is a combination of both. It's 90 days. Yes, that means 3 full months. So people are going to see that differently. So that's just an example of that. But copywriting is something completely different than that. I'll admit that's not like my thing. All right, this is the order form. The button right there in the order form is an audio that's pretty much, affirming what it is they're doing, congratulating them on making the decision, and supporting the decision so they don't abandon the order form. Okay, opt-in page to collect names and email addresses. Affiliate program details to sell people into the affiliate program. Just like you're selling people into your products, many times you have to sell them into the affiliate program to justify why they should sell your stuff over other people. Now, $9,500 is what I spent, and there's a ridiculous amount. And the reason why is that amount is because I put money into some advertising that didn't necessarily work because I didn't know what I was doing at the time. But in all fairness, I included that in the total amount, although the creation of the actual product was less than $1,000 or so, okay? But I just wanted to be fair. I mean, I burnt money in these different ad programs, like some co-reg stuff and some pay-per-click stuff, and I didn't know what I was doing. So I backed out of it. And that was before I actually had released the product. I could have backed out and said, no, this ain't going to work, and just scratched the whole thing. But here was the result at this time. This is a very old number because we actually sold off that part of the business. Online at that time, that product did over $762,000 in sales. But it's done over $1 million in sales, and we've actually sold that off to somebody else now. But we took orders via 800 number. We took orders via fax machines. We took orders via snail mail, like people can mail it in addition to online orders. And that only represents the online orders at the time that we captured it. But that's an information product that we sold at $297 and also at a price of $397. But the cost to produce the whole thing was less than 20 bucks. How many like those margins? And let me ask you this. What's the margin on a digital product? Yeah. How many like those margins even better? Right. So information products are, it's a kick-butt way to go. Okay, so circle an information product. Okay, look at your worksheet. Step 3, circle an information product. Ideally, just circle the information product that corresponds with the box that you checked in market research. Let's keep this going, okay? These are some different looks at covers for those different products you have on it. Okay, this is Greg Polis. I've actually helped Greg twice. I'll play just a part of this, not all of it, because we are a little pressed for time here. This is Greg Polis.
Hi, everybody. This is Greg Polis, and I want to talk to you today about Stephen Pierce. But before I begin, let me tell you where I'm at. I was going to record this video in my studio. I was going to put on a suit and tie and look all professional, but it's really noisy in the house right now, and I wanted to get this video to Stephen as soon as possible. So where I'm at, I'm in my 2006 BMW 330xi, just a wonderful car, and I bought this car last year after I had some big success in my business. Largely, Stephen was responsible for that success. So here's just a quick tour of my car. Here's the front seat.
That video runs literally like almost 7 minutes, and I don't I mean, if you want to see the video, you can, because we captured a lot of these different videos. But the point here is that in 2006, his company had did $500,000. Him and his dad were working from home. They did $500,000. And by any stretch of the imagination, that was great. But when he was ready to release his new product, he had gone through all these different products, launched things, and other coaches. But he contacted me while we were living in Michigan and said, I want to sit down with you to help me to put this thing together. So we had a strategy session, put it together, and in 7 days, he made $555,000. And then in 60 days, he had made $1.5 million. And then last year, 2007, going into September, he contacted me again because he was releasing his Forex Profit Accelerator. He wanted me to help him with that. So I helped them to come up with the campaign things, and they did over $2 million in 21 days. Information products. That's right, give them a hand. But here's the thing. It's the exact same pattern. The pattern is the same. The pattern hasn't changed. Okay, lead generation, very simple. The purpose of lead generation is to collect the names and email addresses of those people that you want to start cultivating a relationship with. I mean, it's one thing to go directly for the sale, but we know whether it's online sales or direct sales, the majority of the people that come to your page aren't going to buy on the first route. They're not going to buy, so we need to have the ability to follow up with them to cultivate a relationship, nurture the relationship, and put ourselves in the position where we're the person that they're going to come to when they are ready to buy, or stimulate them to buy, stimulate them to, oh, well, we don't want that to happen, now do it. You guys are looking at each other and not pointing for me. Come on. You guys are probably like, I hope we don't look. I hope we don't look. I hope we don't look. It's going to restart. No. Okay. We took care of that. So the point here is that by capturing the name and email addresses of people, you have the opportunity to follow up and follow up and follow up and really build a relationship. Because in today's environment, it's not about, oh, let's get these transactions. No, it's really about building a community of people, having conversations, and boosting your interaction. It goes without question that if you boost your interactions with people, you're going to boost your transactions. The lower you are on the interaction scale, the lower your transactions are going to be. In fact, the lower you drop on the interaction scale of your marketplace, you'll go to a point of isolation, and you're not going to make any sales. So you have to remember, the more interactions you have with your marketplace, the more transactions you're going to ultimately get. And the easy way to remember that is boost my interactions to boost my transactions, okay? These are some things you can give away for free. You don't have to write these down because they're on your worksheet, all right? But what you want to do is you want to think about what can you give away for free to stimulate them to take that small step of opting in or giving you their name and email address or phone number or mailing address so you can put yourself in the position where you can follow up with them. All right, so circle a lead generator. If you're doing information products, one of the simplest ways to give away something for free is if it's a book, give them away the first chapter. Give them the first chapter. If it's audio, give them a part of the audio. If it's a video, give them a part of the video. Just give them something, and I think that if you give them something that's related to the product that you ultimately want to sell them, and they like that, it makes it easier to transition them or to just have them to continue in the buying process. Okay. So this is Mike Littman, somebody that I've been coaching for about 3 years now. One of the things we helped him to do was use free public domain information to generate leads to sell a different kind of product. And as a result of that, this is an old one. At this point in time, in 16 months, we added nearly $725,000 to his business. Right now, it's been over $1 million. He has two coaches. I'm the one other person that he calls to help him to grow his business. In fact, he has a whole new rebranding of his business that I'm helping him to do. And by the way, Tony Robbins has a new product coming out. I'm the person that he contracted to help them to develop the whole thing. I'm in direct contact with the different people that are actually developing it. Jack Canfield, I'm the person they call. I just did a consulting session with Jay Conrad Leviston. I'm the guy that people call, and many people don't want other people to know that they're calling me. And I don't necessarily throw myself out there as just, a guru or anything like that, because I don't really feel as if that's who I am. I'm a simple guy, and I take the seat of a student trying to always understand competitive positions. And I understand that at the end of the day, to win, you have to be competitive. You have to have a proven system that will help you to be competitive. Many people think that to win in this business, you have to be great at marketing, you have to be great at sales, you have to be great at management, et cetera. And that's only partially true. There's a lot of companies that went under that had great management teams, they had great sales teams, they had great marketing teams, but they weren't competitive. They weren't competitive. The most important system in your business is a competitive system. And that's one of the things, that's something that we're covering here, but that's one of the things we actually train you in. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of these different people contact me. So, step 5, traffic generation. There's tons of ways to generate traffic on the internet, a ton of ways. And we're not going to go through them all, but here's the little list. And I have an even smaller list on your worksheets. Okay, but at the end of the day, if you don't have the ability to generate traffic, you're not going to make any money whatsoever. Okay? You want to make sure you generate traffic, whether you're selling your stuff or you're selling somebody else's stuff, because that's almost the genesis of everything else. Listen, conversions don't happen if there's no traffic. Your offer, regardless of how great it is, your website, regardless of how sexy it looks, and all these other elements which are necessary are not sufficient, and they're for naught if you don't generate the right traffic. So traffic generation is key, because this is one of the things that if it don't happen, everything else is just going to fall and be a waste. Okay, and these are just some of the strategies. And actually, I'll talk to you in a minute on how you can learn in a very fast way to do those. Now, circle 3 traffic strategies. I would say circle blogs, MySpace, and forums, because those are 3 fast ways to generate traffic, okay, when done the right way. Blogs, MySpace, and forums. This is a fundraiser that we did live in Singapore in front of over 2,500 people. And what we did is we used some basic traffic strategies. We had to start from scratch on stage, okay? And it was like 4 days we were told we had, but at the end of the day, we ended up having 64 hours. It was the World Internet Summit, okay? This event over in Singapore was over 2,500 people, and we took the challenge, and in 64 hours, although it's $100,000 there, the total amount that we actually raised for them was over $130,000 in 64 hours live on stage for Feed the Children, which fed over 1 million kids. So, this is the power of leveraging stuff that works, the proven stuff that works. Okay, step 6, automation. We'll wrap this up. How many of you would love to have a hands-free business? For the most part, nearly 100% hands-free outside of some basic management things. But for the most part, whether you work, sleep, or play, your business is running all by itself. And I look at it like this. If all you can have to do is manage your business by numbers, your business is pretty much on autopilot. And what I mean by that is that you understand what all the numbers are in your business that you have to watch, that are going out and that are coming in. And then you or somebody else tweak those numbers to improve the performance of the business. You're not in there chugging away working the business. Everything is being done. All the transactions, the selling, the marketing, the traffic generation, everything is being done by something or somebody other than you. Either it's done on autopilot through automation, or it's done through somebody manually doing it, but it's outsourced. But either way, your hands are off. And these are just 5 key areas that you want to make sure that you automate. So put a check mark next to all 5 of those, okay? This is Brett Fogel, and Brett Fogel, when he came to us, he had a business that was MacArthur Water Gardens, and he would sell like koi ponds and stuff, and I thought it was a great business, but the margins weren't that great because it was a bunch of physical products. His business was doing like $225,000 a year. We actually more than doubled that business in less than 3 months. But he saw what we were doing in the financial markets with information products, and he was like, I want to do what you guys are doing. But he had no experience. But I said, listen, that doesn't matter. Just find some other people that have the experience and do it. So he did Options University. He modeled it off of Fibonacci sequence, which I showed you. We helped him to put together the marketing campaign. His first month, his very first information product, where he had no experience, and in his first month, he did over $230,000. His first month. Why? Because the pattern works. It's a proven pattern. The pattern works. Say the pattern works. Say it like you know it. The pattern works. And it does, and it'll work for you as well. So step 7 is acceleration, okay? This is where you actually take what it is you've already done and you accelerate it by extending the sales processes. When people come in and buy one thing, you sell them multiple things immediately and on a continuous basis, days and weeks and months down the road. We don't really have time to go into that, but I'll actually train you on how you can go about doing that. So circle 2 different ways to accelerate your income. I would say one-time offers and thank you offers, because those are very simple. This is Hans and Danny. That came to one of our product creation training, and these are actually 2 products that they created as a result of coming to our training. And they put the products on the market. They didn't go fully market the products, but they put it out there on the market, and as a result, they did over $500,000 quickly before they even officially released it, because the pattern works. So what you're looking at here is what you have on your sheet, the full IPT process, okay? Now, we would do the marketing statement right now, and I encourage you to actually do that, because if you think about it, once you're finished doing this and you put everything together, all 7 of the steps, you have a small but very precise marketing statement. I'll give you an example of a marketing statement that I wrote. To serve the brainwave entrainment market and get paid via paid per sale and paid per click. I'm going to market an information product titled Optimization. I will generate leads by giving away a free report. I will generate traffic to my site by borrowing it using joint ventures and affiliates. I will accelerate my income by using a one-time offer and thank you offer. That's it. One very small and focused statement. So I encourage you to take the time to do yours. But let me play this for you real quick. This is a short video of Kim.
As well as marketing that could help me. I then signed up for the course. I would go on the calls. I was hungry to know, but I was still going round and round. And the one thing that I didn't have is I didn't have computer skills. I didn't have a product. I didn't have a list. I really didn't have it from having barely being able to pay that $200 to, you know, we had a little windfall of about $20,000, which was phenomenal. I just kept going, and after
Let me ask you this, as you were continuing to go, how important was it to have that continuous coaching and contact with us as every day you were trying to keep your head above water and focus on that dream and believing that you can actually have that dream become true?
You know, as I said to you, you know, I didn't come here this weekend thinking I was going to write a book. I had no intentions of writing a book. I actually came here because I wanted to let Stephen and Alicia know, I'll get really teary here, but what they've done for me, because I wouldn't be here today. You know, they kept me going when each day, you know, there was times that I didn't want to keep going. They would email me and say, hey, we haven't heard from you, being a little quiet. Have you done what Stephen's asked you to do? You know,
that's something that's very significant. You went from a self-image that really needed some work, and having no money, not able to pay your bills, having to negotiate with everybody that you had owed money to. And what is the income range right now for you monthly as far as your personal income?
Anywhere from $10,000 to $50,000.
That lets you know what's possible. Now, how many of you are ready to stop thinking about what's possible and live what's possible?